You get the idea. The new little lesson today, which is already in front of you, homework. You write it, you submit it, I return my version of the solution. It is your duty, that is, if you are smart, to compare your work with mine, and then to acquire a lesson from that comparison. The lesson is of two kinds. One is about solving the problem. The second lesson is about how to report it. So you should report the way that I communicate with you in a way that shows not only clarity and thought, but also respect for the reader. So keep that in mind, because it will serve you well in your careers, no matter what you do, from academia to the military. Reporting is an essential technique. And on that note, today's lecture will be called Technique. I will start over here. So this is lecture number 5 on the 27th of January. And yeah, why not? Technique. It's a nice Greek word, technique. Technique really means contrivance. Contrivance, which the other name for that in Greek is mechani, or machine, something that the individual contrives or comes up with in order to make his or her life easier. When it comes to my profession, which is on display today, technique means a way, in your case, learned or acquired way of solving a problem. Coming up with an answer to something that the first contemplation is not in your grasp. Technique. It requires from you the ability to remember decisions and moves in problem solving that in the past have yielded results. So the technique is personal. It is, take a look at for example, sports, a player, soccer or basketball. The individual is unique. The movement is unique. The ways to beat the defender is unique. And it comes from a long life of acquiring this. All right. So, yeah, what about today? Well, in the previous lecture, you saw how to discover, playing the role of the ignorant, the configuration of how to flow easier, more and more easily from one point to another point through a volume filled by flowing fluid, a volume that's fixed. And we, of course, we made a big deal out of something that should have been obvious, but because the ultimate is known to everybody is the straight pipe that has a round cross-section. But it pays, when it comes to acquiring technique, to put yourselves in the role of the ignorant, a person who becomes wiser and wiser step by step, because that person questions himself. You see that? So the discovery last time was that if you play that role, dishonest as it may sound, you become stronger. So the lesson of the previous lecture plays the role of, if not template, but the secret that you possess. But this time, we contemplate a, let's say, seemingly different question or a puzzle. It is about figuring out why is it that river channels universally are deep when they're wide. See, wide rivers are deep. That's why people don't venture across big rivers on foot. Narrow rivers, called rivulets or brooks and so on, or trickles, are easy to walk across. Get it? So the observation, and by the way, the observation that's puzzling is the definition of a good question. So the observation, by the way, this observation that repeats itself in the billions the same way is called phenomenon. If somebody asks you at the next party, what is phenomenon? Even if the person who asks you is a beautiful girl, you don't say, no, it is you, No, you say phenomenon is an observation that repeats itself in the billions. So that's a phenomenon. And by the way, that's another Greek word which means exactly what I told you, okay? An observation that repeats itself many, many times. And it is that wide rivers are deep. And why is it? Of course, I gave you I gave away the secret. To you, it's not a puzzle because you have technique. And the technique, as you'll see very soon, is a repeat of what we've done last time. By the way, now that you are witnessing a lecture that meaning a way to teach that you have not heard before, you've been taught technique ever since geometry and wherever you took it the first time, let's say elementary school. In geometry, they teach you how to prove a theorem. You begin with the hypothesis and what is known, the so-called givens. Among those are previously proven theorems, like the shortest line between the 2 points is the straight line, and on and on and on. And then through this sequence of steps, you proceed to proving this new theorem. The same thing in calculus. You are told to solve by hand, that is analytically an integral. Well, if you were taught the calculus correctly, those teaching consisted of one type of integral after another type of integral, depending on how the integrand was expressed, say trigonometric functions, or polynomial functions, or some other classes of analytical integrals. And every single class, if you are taught correctly, empowered you with a technique for solving such integrals. So today's technique should be nothing new if you are brought up correctly. Once again, the idea is that what works is kept. So what you saw in a previous lecture worked, and therefore you keep it.